It is consumed as a fresh fruit or juice and mostly sold on the roadside and local markets in Uganda at a low price. Fresh pineapples are sold at a price between 300 to 1,500 in Uganda, but exported dried sliced.
Julie, you might have to read everything, eh?
All right.
Yes.
Let me pick out the main points.
Yes, please.
In this part, I have tried to show that though we are growing the pineapples in Uganda, and the pineapples are having a very big role in our economy by creating income, employment, and other things, there is still a low productivity in pineapples. I think everyone can read it. Now I went on to identify some of the causes or the factors for low productivity, for low pineapple productivity in Uganda. And these I have said, and among the factors include low lack of capital, poor varieties for pineapples, weather condition, limited market, and then infertile soils. In my next paragraph, I have pointed out lack of capital as my major factor for low productivity.
Okay, so please go ahead.
And I've said,
Not a problem. Yes, please.
I proceed.
Yes, please.
Since low capital is my major factor for low productivity, I have said that these farmers, since they are not having enough capital, they are not able to pick up some improved agricultural inputs like the fertilizers and the pesticide, among others. Then in my third paragraph here, I tried to talk about some of the approaches like the NGOs and the FAO and the government of Uganda, some of the approaches they have tried to develop to solve the problem of low tomato production. But in my conclusion, I have found out that although they have come up with many approaches, all those approaches have failed to work out on that issue for low pineapple production. Then, in my last paragraph, I have concluded by saying that, like the main point, or how can I say it, like driving to the main reason why I've decided to write this proposal for grant is to get access to the capital or funds to help the farmers in Chusa village, Katikam sub-county, Luwelo district, central Uganda, to get access to capital so that they can improve their pineapple production. Then on the part for proposed solutions, this one, it disturbed me a lot, but I have tried to write some of the solutions here. Like the solution to the problem I've stated above, I have said that I want to provide the capital or funds to small pineapple farmers to help them to buy the improved seeds, to enable them also to purchase the pesticide and fertilizer, and also to enable them to buy more land for pineapple plantation expansion, and also to do what we call market research on their own, and even to access labor or the skilled labor for their pineapple growing. My next solution is constructing a pineapple processing factory within the area that Chusa, so that we can create some employment opportunities to the people within the Chusa village, and also helping farmers to find market for their pineapples, since we have seen that these farmers are still selling their pineapples at a very low price. Then the objectives or the goals for this have been very brief here. I've said to increase revenues, to create jobs, and then to improve farmers' income, more especially the small scale farmers. That's the end of my line.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Juliet.
You're
Please
welcome.
comment to Juliet's presentation. Feel free, raise up your hand, unmute yourself and advise Juliet. Based on what we learned yesterday. There's so much silence. Yes, Emmanuel. Please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Emmanuel, I'm
Thank you very
waiting for your
much.
comment.
Hello, thank you very much. I think Juliet.
Yeah, you're
Am I
welcome.
audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, yes. I of course, I did not attend the entire yesterday, but I have listened attentively to Juliet's presentation, especially on the thought stream, the streaming of the thoughts. And I thought that I think the first one, my first observation is that when you talk about the interventions the FAO have made, that should come before the way you now fine-tune your problem after you have looked at the issues and then some of the interventions, and then what remains unresolved in spite of those interventions. So I thought then the intervention of FAO should have come earlier or before the problem. And then secondly, I see that in the solution, you are trying to address again things which were not your major problem. You have included access to market, access to labor, and the main problem of capital. So maybe as you talk about the problem, you need to expound on how that capital can ramify into those, so that when you come up with a solution, you can highlight that. Finally, I think when you talk about capital, it's good to define what capital you are talking about. Is finance capital or which one? So thank you very much, Juliet, and thank you for listening. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Any more comments? Just one more person can comment on Juliet's presentation. Then Ivan should prepare to.
Purity.
Yeah, the one of yes, Purity. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning once again.
Morning, Purity.
There are just a few things. You talked about us putting the introduction. In that introduction, we had introduction background problems to be addressed, and so forth, solutions. In Julie's write-up, we've not seen anything about Uganda, yet it was, you told us it's important. Not everyone knows about Uganda and where she proposes this grant should take place from. So I think there she missed it. She could have missed it. Then also the introduction about her entity, what she wants to create. We have not also seen that in the, because all those things come before the proposed solutions. We need to actually know what is happening, what the entity is about, and where the entity is going to be, that is Uganda, etc, etc. I think that is it for now.
Thank you very
Over
much.
to you, Chair.
Thank you very much,
Hello.
Purity and Emmanuel. Yes, there's a comment
Can I
from someone.
comment?
Please do.
Yeah, now, So no logical linkage between the problem, the objective, then the causes and the effects. I think it would have been a much simpler job for our presenter. I'm just giving you views. If you had started somewhere by properly analyzing the problem, identifying the root cause, okay, the core problem, the root cause, the effects. Now, if that one comes out clearly, if you are summarizing it in your concept, it becomes very, very clear. And you'll see that the core problem will be finally linking up to the core objective. So that was my comment, that beyond the proposal, beyond the concept note, in the background, there's a lot of work that has to be done first in clearly analyzing the problem, its root cause, its effects. Then from there, we turn around to get the objective. That was just my observation. But
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate the effort made to give us this menu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yes,
And the other people who have commented. Juliet, coming back to you. Yes, you took time to work on something. Thank you very much. There are key things that we have to remember that we talked about. When you have data about the farmers and their problems in Uganda, we should have a data source, okay? Most especially when
Yes.
you have figures, where you have figures, you must have a data source so that someone can be able to know that actually the problem exists in Uganda, okay? Yeah, and yeah, true, the farmers have challenges, okay? We cannot be able to address all the challenges. Yeah? So for us, we focus on only those where we feel we can, first of all, we have the capability, and all we need is money to be able to support these farmers. So when you look at the problem, you've given us a lot of information. It would be good if you can summarize the problem. In case it's more than one, you can give each problem a short paragraph, okay? In case it is one, still one paragraph would be okay, because I mentioned yesterday that people don't want a lot of reading, Within the first,
Yes.
just go up the page where you started analyzing the problem. What you would do, actually what this information about pineapple growing, yeah, you can
Yes.
replace it. Alternatively, if you need it to be in the proposal, you can add it to the background where you've talked about Uganda and a bit about Uganda being able to venture into pineapple growing. So that when you get to the problem statement, within the first 2 lines of the first paragraph, someone is actually seeing the problem has started coming in, okay? So that they don't go up
Yes.
to the second paragraph. I'm seeing your problem is appearing in the 3rd paragraph, right? Yeah, so ensure that your problem comes out very, very in the paragraph. Then when you go to the solution, it must be in with the problem. You've given us a solution down, but you've given us a lot more information, okay, still about the solution. So you've brought in what one of the participants mentioned. You've brought in marketing. How is it relating, okay, exactly with the provision of, okay? So everything has to be very, very related to the problem that you've mentioned. Moving down to the
Objective.
objectives, please
Yes.
make the objectives smart, okay? You are going to increase income, yeah? Because that is, we are putting what we are expected to achieve. How much income are you going to increase? You can be, if you have the baseline information which you actually have in your first paragraph about pineapple, what the farmers are being paid currently for the pineapples, okay? So you're going to indicate in this objective that you're increasing the incomes from this much, which is the current baseline, to this much by, okay?
Yes.
You're going to create jobs. How many jobs are you going to create? Okay, and in what period are you going to create these jobs? Because remember, projects, they do not stay forever. So if you have a 5, 3 or 2 year project, even if it is 1 year, mention the number of jobs. I'm going to create 100 jobs by this, okay? Then you're going to improve farmers' incomes. Now, when you talk about improving farmers' incomes and increasing revenue, okay, you have to make it very clear. Yeah, the increase in revenue is for you as the company, right?
Yes.
And then the increase, the improvement for the farmers' incomes. What are the farmers currently earning, and what would you like them? What picture do you want to see in the next 5, 3 or 2 years according to your proposed time in the
Propose.
Yes.
Mm.
I hope that gives some clarity.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam.
And thank you so much. You know,
I'll go on and
when you're the first one, you're giving the one. Yeah. Can we
understand.
one more from Joint Medical Stores? As told, Ivan has the presentation. Julie, thank you so much. Please unshare. Stop sharing so that we can listen to Team Joint Medical Stores. Thank you, Ivan.
One. Am I being heard loud and clear?
Yes, yes.
So given from yesterday's case study, we are told that this GMS, since we are in medical, we get something that we can be able to do, but we relate to the what we studied and have such that we can be able to see if at all we are gaining value. And given the guidance we are given, we have been able to come out something, which is a procurement of and distribution of personal protective equipment for health practitioners in Uganda. And about the applicant, we talked about Joint Medical Stores, who we are, when we are formed, who owns GMS, and who are our key customers, of which we talked about health facilities, both coordinated by Uganda Catholic Medical Bureau and Uganda Protestant Medical Bureau, and government of Uganda health facilities, clinics, pharmacies around the country. And we talked about the range of products that GMS has, which shows that our market base and the value of the commodities we have, which we talked about as well, and the employees that GMS has and its capability to be able to handle the task at hand. So under background, we said that the rapid spread of the novel coronavirus and its resulting condition, COVID-19, has caught much of the world off guard. The tragedy has yet to fully play out, but it is really clear that the crisis is thoroughly global in nature and that the science is on the front line in the fight of the virus. This includes medical professionals attempting to heal the sick at the risk of their own health, public health officials tracking the virus, and vigilantly urging such measures as social distancing to mitigate its spread. And the researchers now engaging the development of diagnosis and treatment and vaccines, that is as per WHO website 2020. So we brought it further to local and said that in Uganda, despite the interventions from Ministry of Health and the imposed government lockdown guidelines given to fight COVID-19. Cases are rising every other day, putting health professionals at risk of contract COVID-19. That is as per Ministry of Health website 2020. So we also further say that provide PPEs to Uganda health professionals to protect them from the virus, hence having a health workforce that is able to take care of Ugandans. That is briefly what we talked about in our background. Then we talked about the major goal, which should be to procure and distribute personal protective equipment for healthcare practitioners in Uganda. And the impact which we talked about is protecting healthcare practitioners from the risk of being infected with the COVID-19 virus. And the outcome of which we looked at was that a health workforce free from COVID-19 that is able to protect Ugandans at all levels.
Okay.
And the problems, briefly, we just touched based on the problems to be discussed, to be addressed by us doing so. We are like there's lack of, one of it is lack of enough PPEs for health practitioners in Uganda. Given that problem, if at all we are given this grant, we shall be able to provide them the PPEs. And also we want to fight, we want to bridge the supply chain gaps faced by the personal protective equipment in Uganda, given that the fluctuating prices, the scarcity, so there is no clear rule, and we pray that if at all we are given the funding, we can be able to do so, to ensure at least the practitioners can be able to access this funding. And also we have been able to say that one of the other problems would be like, we need to find means of using the most recent technology to be able to decontaminate such that once PPEs are given, to cut on costs, they can be sanitized and reused again. So basically that's how the guidance were, and we are thinking that line. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivan and team joint towards. I would like to invite comments from other members who are not part of Joint Medical Stewards. Juliet, Andrew, Bridget, Elsie, Yakub, Monique, please comment on the presentation by Joint Medical Stewards. Feel free, the same way we did for Juliet. We are helping ourselves to learn.
Bridget, unmuted her, so she wants to say something.
Bridget, please go ahead. Hello, Bridget.
Hello. I really feel like they hit the brief on the assignment. Though I was asking, were we not supposed to focus on a case study?
We are supposed to customize it to our sectors.
Okay, yeah, because honestly, I feel like they hit the brief on most of what was, because they really put like I like how they really talked about the company and the background. Then they also clearly indicated the people that they are targeting.
Okay.
And it's clear to see there's statistics in their in their background. Let's go down a little bit. Yeah, and also I like that there were sources for their data sources, which is something that you had mentioned, because I was saying the World Health 2020, Ministry of Health website. So yeah, honestly, for me, I think they really hit the brief on the assignment. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bridget. Juliet, Andrew, Elsie, can one of us give us a comment? So what we shall, since we've had two people present, Juliet, please go ahead. Juliet, go ahead.
They have talked. Thank you, Joint Medical Stewards, for the presentation. It is very nice. But I think for the case where you've said that providing PPEs, I think you would have been more specific to say which kind of the PPE. Are you going to provide the gloves, the sanitizers, or? That's my comment.
Thank you, Juliet. Okay, let me come in. What we are going to do, given the short time for these sessions, 2 hours is really short. For today, we've had joint medical stores and Curad present. Tomorrow we shall have other participants present based on what we are going to learn today. To come in with comments, thank you, joint medical stores, for the presentation. I will not re-echo what Bridget and Juliet have mentioned. Please move down to the goal. Yes, the goal, yes, we are looking at a long-term, bigger picture, but now we want to procure and distribute PPE for the practitioners. First of all, are we going to do the entire Uganda? Just think about it. Because this is the role of government, and joint medical stores is coming in to make a contribution, which is very good, yeah? But can joint medical stores be able to inform us, are you going to do the entire Uganda? Would a funder be interested in funding the entire Uganda with a not-for-profit entity, just one entity? Or if you're going to do in a region, can you indicate that region? You might not go, okay, at times you might get specific to the number of districts, or you can mention a given region. Because normally when it is the whole of Uganda, it seems to be more on the side of government, okay? So on your side, inform us which particular part you're going to focus on, because you know, these are needed in each and every district in this country. Yeah. Then when we get to still the goal, we want to distribute, okay? Procure and distribute. What is the end goal? What do we want to achieve as joint medical stores? Do we want to reduce COVID-19 infections? Do we want to actually curb the pandemic so that it doesn't really, so that actually those who are sick get healed? And we know that Uganda is COVID-19 free. The goal has to be really big, and the procurement and distribution is just going to help us in achieving that bigger goal. Okay? I don't know if we are getting that.
Yeah, we are getting it.
Yes. So what you're proposing here is one of those interventions that you're going to do, okay? However, what is the intervention going to lead to? That is the goal. If we want to curb the pandemic in Uganda, okay? If we want to reduce infections by this percentage, okay? Because once you buy PPE, you're focusing on reducing infections. That's what I would anticipate. But normally when we are doing this work, I'm not giving the examples, but I'm giving a picture. I paint a picture that you can be able to pick out as medical stores. What do you want to achieve? What you want to achieve is the goal. Because now we know there are so many interventions that are coming up in COVID-19, okay? But most of the interventions are aiming at
reducing the spread.
The spread of COVID-19. And yours is part of those interventions. So we can, I think, improve the goal, but you did a good job. I will applaud like the other participants have done, okay?
Claire, can I make my comment?
Yes, Andrew.
Now, thank you very much. In my view, I am, okay, it's a well-written concept to a greater extent, but I'm looking at the connection between the organization is the grantee, the one applying for the grant. I'm looking at how his objectives are harmonized with the donor's objectives. Whereas the donor seems to be interested in improving the incomes of the small-scale farmers, the applicant is focused on the safety of the medical practitioners. So I find it difficult to see the logical linkage between the two. To me, I'm seeing a well-written solution, but I'm not seeing the way it is scoring, actually. So,
Okay,
and
thank
yesterday
you very much.
we're dwelling so much on that.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Yes, please.
The communication through Humphrey that the case was focusing on agriculture. However, we got participants that are in other sectors. So we requested customize the case to their sectors.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
That's how joint medical store works, because they are in the health sector. They are
Okay.
the health sector. I hope that gives us
thank you.
clarity. So now for, I think for Andrew, you're in coffee, so you're in the food. So for you, you are, the case speaks to you directly.
Okay.
Yeah, but I hope we've got something from what we've all shared, and I'm happy with the comments each one of us is coming up with. It shows that we took very many lessons from yesterday's session. I beg to move to our session today. And today we are continuing on what we worked on yesterday, okay? And for those who have done already some work, you're going to see that it's going to be speaking a lot more easier on what you did. So we're just continuing. Are we able to see my screen?
Yeah, the screen is displayed on the computer screen.
Okay.
I can see it. Yeah.
Looking at the two examples we've seen today, we have got the problem, the proposed solutions, and now we are moving to, we have got the goal, we are moving to the impact. What do we want to achieve in the long run? Okay. What happens with projects? Normally the impact can come during or even a long period after the project has ended. These interventions start the process. There are some activities which can be able to create impact early, but there are those where the impact comes after a while. I'll give an example. If you're into, Andrew, you're into coffee, it's a cafe, right? Andrew, am I right?
I've muted myself, but yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in a coffee. Go ahead.
I'll give okay, let's give an example of the lady Juliet cured in pineapples. Okay. You want to increase farmers' incomes. How long do pineapples take to grow? Juliet, please. I just want now to reflect moving forward on what we are presenting so that it gets more concrete. Juliet, please unmute yourself. How long do pineapples take to grow?
It depends on the variety for pineapples, and some takes 1 year and some 1.5 years.
So 1 year, okay? Let's take 1 year for first maturing pineapples. For those, the impact when you're able to provide capital, as your proposition to the farmers, it's actually going to be felt. If the project is 3-5 years, the impact can be felt within that. Okay. But if you are going to support farmers, and for example, they are into coffee, okay? and the crop will need a minimum of 3 years. Yet your project is exactly 3 years. The impact is going to be felt after the project, but you have set the processes in place that are going to lead the impact, okay? So what I'm bringing out here is the impact is not 100% in our control as the project implementers, okay? Getting the example of joint medical stores and purity. Let me just click on purity. Do we see the infections reduce immediately?
It's dependent. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
It would take time, because then we have to do the procurement, distribution, and then train the users in house.
Yes.
So after it would be after some time that we'll see reduced. Now that we have more than 10,000 cases, like
Yes.
let's say if the project starts now, we would expect to see a reduced number of new cases in maybe 3 months. And yes, thank you.
So that means the impact for joint medical stores will be felt within the project period.
Yes, please.
Yes. So when you look, but then you remember, purity, you've mentioned that you are going to train the users. Yeah. Now, when you're training the users, training is one thing, and the users being able to take in the information for the training and actually act on that information is outside joint medical stores. Do we get that?
Yes, please.
Joint medical stores is going to procure, deliver the PPE, and do the training. Okay? Equip the users with the skills to actually use the PPE.
PPE.
It is on the side of the users, the healthcare practitioners, to be able to use this PPE in the right way, okay? So that they can be able to reduce
Achieve infections.
That's why I am saying that the impact is not 100% in our control as the owners or the implementers. Okay? But
yes, ma'am,
we do our part. Yeah? We do our part, and when we have in 3 months the infections reducing, we expect that by the end of the project, even if it is 1 year or 2 years, the COVID-19 infections would really have gone down. But since we have brought this intervention in place, it is going to give more impact even beyond our project time. So when you're starting the impact, reducing the infections by, for example, in the 3 months, you may reduce the infections, let me say by 10 or 15%. But when you're setting these impacts, you give them a longer period, okay? Because, yeah, we are going to talk about an activity plan, which is going to show when you're going to initiate the procurement process, when the PPE is going to come in, when you're going to organize the healthcare practitioners, when you're going to distribute, okay? When you're going to train them, when they're going to start using, yeah? But also remember that there are people who are not accessing the healthcare facilities when they suspect that they have COVID-19. Are those people in our control? Yes, no?
Ma'am, pardon to that, please.
There are people, yes, for us, we are going to get our target group, okay? And the PPE, these are the healthcare practitioners. Yeah?
Yes.
Remember, it is upon them to use the PPE, use them, much as we are going to train them. Okay? So essentially, when you're stating the impact of infections it is not 100% in our control, so don't limit yourself to what Joint Medical Stores is going to do. You have an impact that is bigger than what Joint Medical Stores is going to do, with the mind communicating to us that the users are outside Joint Medical Stores. So if you want to reduce the infections, let me say to 70% by 2023, okay? I'm giving an example of an impact. Yeah, it is not 100% in our control, but we shall report on the number of infections, get information from Ministry of Health, getting information from the beneficiaries themselves in the healthcare facilities, okay? Such that we are informing the funder that once you give us this money, COVID-19 is drastically going to reduce in Uganda, okay? When we move to outcomes, here we are saying, what do you wish to achieve? What do you wish to achieve? In the impact, we have said long-term change. The long-term change, the PPE, the healthcare providers we've given PPE are actually able to use the PPE to reduce the infections. Now, the outcomes, we are asking, what do you wish to achieve? One, that the healthcare practitioners are using the PPE and they're observing all the other safety measures that we are able to work on. Okay, so the outcomes are normally closer to us than the impact. Okay, so we want to achieve this number of healthcare practitioners receiving PPE and then reducing infections on the side of the healthcare practitioners. Remember, the infections are both for the healthcare practitioners and the communities that they are working in. I want us to get a difference between the impact and the outcome. The impact is long-term change. The outcome is what we are achieving with our intervention. Are we getting that? Okay, the silence, I think, may mean a yes or no, but I'll move on to the outputs. And the outputs, we are saying what we are delivering. Curad is, yes, Purity?
Could you kindly give us an example of that outcome, maybe using what we have as GMS?
Using what we have as GMS. Okay. When we are distributing, when we procure and distribute, okay, there are a number of people that we are working with in the value chain. Yeah. Now, the number of people we are working with in the value chain, first of all, we are going to be able to increase protection, given that we are going to deliver PPE. So we are increasing protection for the healthcare practitioners. Then, still in the value chain, we are going to be creating employment opportunities for the people who are going to be able to distribute to the last healthcare providers. Okay? There's also actually income on the side of those that we are going to buy from the PPE. Because I don't expect the PPE to be someone produces and we do not pay them. Since we are saying we are going to procure, and now the income that is coming on the side of the other players in the value chain, okay? The employment opportunities we are creating, the increased protection, given that the healthcare providers are using the PPE, are all outcomes of our initiative. Are we getting that?
Yes, we are.
So those are some of the examples that, so when you're looking at the outcome, look at the entire chain of from the time you start to plan this procurement. Maybe to ask anyone from Joint Medical Stores, with the procurement, are you looking at only impacting the, are you only looking at working with only Joint Medical Store staff? And do you have the capacity to serve the whole country? Emmanuel, you can tell us something.
No, entirely not. It is an ecosystem.
Yes.
We work with the Ministry of Health. We work
Yes.
with in terms of standards with the National Drug Authority, and
Yes.
and then definitely with the suppliers,
Yes.
and there are also customs authorities. We do have transporters who do the delivery from Joint Medical Store to the health facilities.
Yes.
And then there is quality assurance going on across the value chain,
Yes.
making sure that the delivery has been undertaken appropriately. And
Yes.
and then when it comes to do the training, again, we get experts to come in and
Yes.
provide this training. So it is quite an ecosystem, a large one.
So you have to look at the entire ecosystem, what you are achieving with each of the parties. Okay, I hope I'm answering Purity's question. Purity, are you getting?
Yes, it's very. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Now, when we move to outputs, the only thing we have to know with outputs is the funder is going to give us money, okay, for us to achieve the outputs. You're going to tell the funder, we are going to conduct trainings in 150 health facilities, okay? So you're going to have a budget for the trainings. In the 150 that you've mentioned, because the outputs also have to be smart. How many you have to give the actual number, actually they have to be quantitatively done. How many people are you going to train? Okay. 2, your main reason here for the fund is to procure. How many PPE are you going to procure? So the funder is giving you money, and you know, if it is, let me assume we are going to give in every health facility 10 staff or 15 staff, okay? We do the 15 staff times the number of healthcare facilities we are going to distribute in, and we get the number of PPE that we are going to distribute. So for the outputs, you have to be very clear. The number has to be there. How many? Now, this is differentiating it from outcomes. I talked about the jobs created, okay? Now, the jobs created are not 100% in our control, because we are saying, Emmanuel mentioned transporters. You may assume they are 150 transporters because they are 150 healthcare facilities, but on your side, you might look at the resources, because we know always resources are scarce, and you just use your procurement procedure and you pick only 5 transporters, okay? So the outcome is also outside the control of Joint Medical Stores. But the outputs are 100% in your control. When you tell the funder we are going to deliver this, the funder is going to give you money for that. And when you're reporting in exactly what you've done with the funder's money. Can I get questions at that point before I go to activities? Any questions for me? You seem to be taking in everything. Okay, moving to activities. Essentially here, the activities, what are we going to do with whatever we have planned to do?
Emmanuel had unmuted. I think he had something to share.
He has muted again. I see it muted.
No, what I was just saying that not
Yes,
the question. I thought
Yes,
that
please.
was clear, and what is coming in, what is streaming through my mind is the level of accountability for each of these. So the entity that is would be the grantee in this case would be 100% responsible for the accountable and responsible for the outputs. Then to a certain extent, outcome, then to a lesser extent, impact.
Yes.
This is how it is coming.
Actually, for the impact,
So I think
Emmanuel, don't put it in your control because it is assumed that once you deliver the outputs, okay, you have procured the PPE, you have distributed, it is expected, you have done the training, okay, and you have indicated all the three in the what? In the outputs. It's expected that once the users, why I'm saying the outcomes and impact is outside your control, it is upon the users to use the PPE. But for the outputs, it's upon joint medical stewards to actually identify the procurement sources, procure, identify the healthcare practitioners, distribute, and train. It is 100% in your control. And when you're reporting to the funder, you're reporting on all the three, the outputs, outcomes, and impact, but for the outputs, you're showing actually accountability on the side of the funder. You're even, they will even ask for the procurement guidelines, how you selected the suppliers of the PPE. How much did you pay? Okay. Where did you actually deliver them? You're indicating that you used transport, okay, to go to these healthcare facilities. What shows? That's why I'm saying outputs, quote it, actually you can put it in red. Outputs are 100% in the under the control of the project or program implementer. So once you deliver the outputs, it's expected that the outcomes and the impact will follow. I hope I'm clear on that. I think the network
it is clear. We very clear.
Okay.
We can progress.
So yes, Elsie, speak to us.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Elsie.
Hello. I wanted to inquire. Okay, the output in the case of, let's say, farming,
yes.
The output might be the milk. Like if you are talking about dairy farming, it will be the milk, or like what is being delivered. Like, because I was trying to, my proposal is about dairy farming.
Yes.
So the milk, but we are adding value to it. So it will be the yogurt. We deliver the yogurt. So between the two, which is the output? Like, I don't get you clearly, because from the farmers, my case is the farmers have a lot of milk than what is being demanded. So
yes.
they want to, we are trying to create a company where the milk will be brought so that they don't waste it and feel bad that it is wasted. They bring it together so that we add value to it, then people can consume it, because I think people consume more yogurt than they consume normal milk.
Okay.
Yes, that is what I wanted to inquire. Is the output the milk or the yogurt?
The output, now on the side, you want to reduce losses on the side of the farmers so that their milk does not go bad. You process it into yogurt.
Yes, yes.
Okay? Yogurt is measured in liters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So on the side of Elsie's company, how much milk are you going to turn into yogurt so that you can be able to pay the farmers for that milk? Mm-hmm. Increasing now in farmers' incomes. Okay, if today you have been buying 10,000 liters of milk, yeah, and turning it into yogurt, your need could be increasing the purchase of the milk from the farmers to have more yogurt produced on your side.
Yes.
Are we on the same page, Elsie? I'm assuming
Yes, we are.
your company, but I'm assuming. So if the need in your company, okay, if is production of the yogurt, your capacity is not allowing you to produce enough yogurt now, you need a farmer to fund maybe an equipment or yogurt distribution. Yeah, that's what
Okay,
comes to my mind.
just a minute.
Yes, Elsie.
A minute. Okay, the problem here that I wanted to identify, the problem identified in the proposal is
Yes.
the farmers have lots of milk, but
Yes.
the problem is the the demanded quantity is less than what they produce, so they end up having waste the milk. So in a way to solve that problem, we create a company that produces yogurt, so that the milk is bought by the company, but they need machinery to be able to produce the yogurt, so that farmers can be able to earn something as we solve the problem of wastage of the milk. And the company also sells, so that none of the parties end up having issues like the farmers. Yes.
Yes. So, Elsie,
Mhm.
you want the funder to give you money to procure machinery,
Yes.
increase your capacity to produce more yogurt, because the
Yes.
more yogurt you produce, the higher the demand for the milk from the farmers,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So what you're delivering is the number of liters of milk that you're buying from the farmers is what is increasing to reduce the loss on their side.
Yes.
Noted that people consume more yogurt than the milk. So
Yes.
you need the funder to finance machinery for you to increase the production capacity for the yogurt. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So the output is going to be you're increasing the purchase of liters of milk from the farmers. Let me assume from 10,000 liters to 20,000, given the capacity of the machine that you're requesting for.
Yes.
Are we getting that?
Yes, I'm
So
getting that.
the output you're going to be measuring is how many liters are you able to process into yogurt. If they are increasing from the ones that you're currently buying from the farmers, then it's an output, because you have been given the machine by the funder to reduce the loss on the side of the farmer by buying from them the number of liters of milk. This time they're going to increase because you've got the machine from the funder, and you're going to actually give the farmers more money, since you're going to increase the number of liters of milk that you're going to buy from them. Is that clear to you, Elsie?
Yes, it's very clear.
Thank you. The activities we are going to do now, we have gotten a third example. Thank you, Elsie, for sharing. The activities.
Excuse me.
Juliet, go ahead.
Like for my case,
Yes.
the case of pineapple production or productivity, is it okay if I say that my output, I want to increase the pineapple production from this, let me say from 1 ton to 5 ton, is it okay?
It is very, very right.
Very right.
Said your problem, the farmer's problem is lack of capital. This is what them from producing the number of pineapples that they would be able to produce. And then you have something you want to process them into juice. So you're actually going to require a constant supply of this pineapple.
Yes.
Right? So for you to ensure constant supply of the pineapples to process them into juice, you're going to be able to empower the farmers with capital to produce enough pineapples for your processing factory.
Yes.
Yes. So
All right.
the outputs here, first of all, you're increasing income for Chichusa.
Yeah, for Chichusa people.
Yes. You're increasing, like Chichusa, the association which is doing the pineapple growing, increasing their incomes, okay? You're increasing the revenue for your company, which is doing the juice. Are you getting that?
Yeah.
When we get to the outcomes for Elsie and for Juliet, there is employment created in the entire value chain, from source sample or whatever they use, what they plant, okay? In the inputs in the pineapples, you can relate to this example. Then when the farmers have the pineapples ready, they have to be harvested. These pineapples have to be delivered to your factory. At your factory, you have people who are going to be still in the production, in the distribution of the juice, people who are going to supply you the containers of how you're going to, and where you're going to put the juice, themselves that are going to actually process the juice. Okay? So when you are looking at what you're going to do, apart from the small component of your work, look at the entire value chain. Their outcomes and impacts for the whole value chain. But for the outputs, we are saying they are for your organization or your company. Are we getting that? I hope I can get a thumbs up as we continue.
Okay.
What?
Very okay.
Thank you, Emmanuel. We have agreed, colleagues, activities is what we do. Whatever you're going to do, joint medical stores, you're going to identify suppliers of the PPE. It is an activity, okay? Joint medical stores, you're going to handle the procurement. It's an activity. You're going to handle the distribution. It's an activity. You're going to do the training. It's an activity, okay? You're going to organize, you're going to draw MOUs with the healthcare facilities that you're going to work with for this PPE. It's an activity. So anything you do as you're delivering the outputs is an activity. This is one of the simplest in proposal writing. Okay? We move to the inputs. What resources are used for? If the funder is giving you money, what are you going to use the money for? LC is going to buy machinery, right? LC might actually reach out to the farmers. LC is going to produce yogurt, okay? Whatever you're going to use the money for, those are the inputs. Joint medical stores, getting the PPE, you need money to buy. You need money to distribute. You need money to pay the trainers. You need money to organize those healthcare facilities where you're going to supply the PPE. You need money for transporters. So basically, whatever you're indicating in the inputs is what are you going to use the money for so that you can be able to deliver the outputs. Any question before I move to the next slide? I think we've exhaustively done well on this one. I'm assuming.
Yes, please, we have.
Thank you.
For my case,
Yes, please.
are there any inputs?
Yes, please.
Am I clear?
You're clear.
Like for my case,
Yes, yes.
I want to see whether what I'm going to come up with, like the in form of inputs, is going to be right.
Yes, please.
Let me say, what I'm going to use my resource for is a purchase of fertilizers. Is it okay?
It's very okay. It's an input.
Purchase of pesticides.
It's a must input for pineapple growers.
Yeah, all right.
Purchase of what?
That means a purchase of fertilizers, pesticide, and even the construction of the processing plant. It is also part.
Those are all inputs.
All right.
Madam
When
Claire.
you're developing, yes, Spirit. Let me first respond to Juliet. Get back to you. What you do when you're developing these inputs, look at all the activities you're going to conduct in the project, and every step of the activity there is an input. Whatever activity needs money, okay, is an input. Now, for you who is going to work with the farmers, you might need to get extension workers, right?
Yes.
Workers are an input because you have to pay them, you have to facilitate them. So you need whatever is in the entire value you're actually going to spend on just for you to deliver the outputs. We don't pay for outcomes and inputs, we pay for only the outputs. So analyze your outputs, analyze your activities, and come up with the inputs. Thank you, Juliet. Yes, Purity.
All right.
No, I just needed to.
You're welcome.
To maybe say something for Claire.
Yes, please.
Or you could help us to make it clear.
Yes,
do we say purchase, or we just include and say what I would need? Land, computers, maybe something like that, or fertilizers, other than saying purchase.
That is how you state it. That is how you state it. What are the inputs?
We say purchase.
Land.
Okay.
Fertilizers. Okay. Because someone knows that you're going to use money to buy the fertilizers. So the inputs is exactly what you are. Now, like for joint medical stores, the inputs is PPE. Because you're going to use money to buy the protective gear, right?
Yes.
Yes, so you put all, whatever you're going to spend money on, you put. Now, in addition to the PPE, you're going to do training. So for training, you indicate training costs. Now for training costs, if you're going to train the healthcare providers themselves, you put training costs for healthcare providers. If there is any form of training for your staff, you put training costs for staff, okay? So that you're clear on all your inputs. So if someone looks at your inputs, they can, and vis-a-vis the money you're asking for, they can be able to relate. And if they have any questions, they'll come back to you. Can we move on, my people? Someone is coughing. Yes, please.
Yes, Claire.
You have a question?
No, I was only listening to the discussion of the inputs.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
And I was just appreciating that that even human resource, if I'm going to hire an expertise,
yes,
what my training, that should be that kind of
an input. It's an input.
An input.
Yes, it's an input. And like what we do for those inputs, whatever you're going to do, the component of administration. Okay? So one of the inputs is administration, because joint medical store, company, your cafe, Juliet's pineapple, there's a component of administration because you have people you're working with. Okay? Then, like on the side of your company, then you have things like laptops. These are now assets. So we categorize them there in assets. So administration, we have to buy paper, we have to do printing, anything that falls in like stationery, those small things are in administration. Now for salaries, it is an input. You indicate staff salaries. Some funders want them to go in administration, but what you need, funders don't want to cover a very big administration. So if your staff are going to be experts, include, if you're going to have consultants, include consultancy fees or consultancy costs. If staff are going to get salary, include salaries. Okay. Moving to milestones. Now for milestones, these ones are indicators of achievement of the outputs. Joint medical stewards, you're going to procure PPE. Procurement is a process. Okay? The actual milestone is having the PPE delivered to the healthcare practitioners. By when? For the milestones you indicate. If you're going to buy 100,000 PPE, the milestone will be the PPE have been delivered to joint medical stewards. The PPE have been delivered to, because now PPE being delivered to joint medical stewards is one milestone. You've completed the procurement process. Then the PPE being delivered in the healthcare facilities to the practitioners is another milestone. This is a new project. If you're planning to recruit any staff is a milestone. Okay? For Elsie and Juliet, you're looking at enhancing the capacity of your factories. If you're going to buy any machines, procurement of the machines, once they're delivered to your factory, that's a milestone. It's an achievement. It's one of, like, milestones are those big achievements that show that you're delivering on the outputs. Yeah. Now, milestones are a bit in line with indicators. What will show that the PPE, yes, Elsie?
Just a question.
Yes,
Okay, this is a proposal you're writing. You need people to come on board, yeah?
Yes,
Should
please.
you really include the milestones, or this will be an after report? Or I just want to get that clearly.
Do you include them when?
Okay, we are talking in the case that you're writing a proposal
Yes,
to
please.
funders, yes?
Yes, yes.
So are the milestones included, or this is an after report that you write after the funders have come on board? Because I was looking it in the case that when you're writing the actual proposal, that you are supposed to take it to the funders.
Okay, thank you, Elsie. When we are proposing, in our mind, we are seeing everything happening. Okay? Whatever we have done before, these ones, impacts are expected because we have not yet got the money, we have not yet actually implemented. Outcomes are still expected in the proposal. Outputs are expected, activities are expected because we don't have the money yet. So whatever we are proposing is expected. So even for the milestones, they are expected. We are expecting that by the second quarter of the project, the machines for enhancing yogurt production have been delivered to your factory. Now, what happens with the milestones? They help you to check on yourself on the progress of your work. And for some funders, they even indicate in the template that you indicate the milestones, because we are going to do a schedule of activities. And the schedule of activities, you look at the major activities and you indicate when they will be complete. So the milestones have to be put in the proposal. They are expected. I hope I'm clear on that, Elsie.
Yes, you are clear.
Thank you. Indicators. What is going to show that we have achieved the milestones? So the indicators are a lot in line with the milestones. So we are indicating, saying the milestone was complete the procurement of 100,000 PPE. The indicator is 100,000 PPE procured. So it is now joint medical stores to monitor themselves and find out, have we actually hit this indicator? And we do indicators for the impact, for the outcomes, and the outputs. What will show on your site, okay, that you have delivered the outputs, the outcomes, and the impact. Because we say the impact is outside our control, but still there are some indicators. Since we have delivered the outputs, it's anticipated that the impact will also be happening. Moving to means of verification, it's basically sources. If you have done procurement for the machine, Elsie, if you've done procurement for the machine, Juliet, for the pineapple processing, if you have procured PPE, joint medical stores, what is going to show? One, the procurement documents. It's a source to show that actually we procured this machine. You told the funder the machine is $100,000. Okay? If you got the machine at $95,000, the document should be able to show. Even if it is at 100, document should be able to show. If you recruited staff, Andrew, do they have contracts? That is the means of verification. Juliet, if you got extension workers on board through a government organization, do you have an MOU? So data sources, now if you have staff, are they on the payroll? Is there something to show that you're actually paying your staff? So the funder can decide to come to your office and just cross-check this. Yes, Elsie.
I just wanted to get there clearly on the verification.
Yes, please.
For example, might you also include receipts or the checks, or you're just supposed to only put the document?
Which one? For the means of
on the verification.
The means of verification, you're going to, yes, Spirit, I'll come to you, please. A means of verification, you're indicating to the funder, what will they look at to show that you actually achieved the output. So if you're procuring a machine, okay, you're going to indicate LC, procurement, documents. You just indicate procurement documents. So it's upon the funder to come and see which document they want to look at. Do they want to see the receipt? So of course, normally once you procure the machine and it is in your facility, there has to be a receipt. So here you're just mentioning procurement documents. Yeah. For staff, you're indicating staff contracts. For partners, you're indicating memorandum of understanding. Those documents that you work with the different partners. Okay. It's just to show that whatever you're mentioning is now if you told the funder the machine is 100,000 USD, okay, and you bought the machine at 25,000, you bought a cheap one at 25,000, and in your financial report you have 100,000. The farmer the funder just wants to come and see, did you actually buy the machine at 100,000? So you give in the procurement documents to confirm that. Purity, you had your hand up. Please.
Yes, please. I needed to find out whether this is a now or tomorrow. Whether it's going to be like the indicators, staff contracts. Those are things I'm going to include for him that time, or what I have available. And if I don't have, then what happens?
No, these ones we have said we are proposing for the funder. If we are to recruit staff in our activities, we are telling the funder that when you give us the money and you want to prove that we recruited staff, we shall show you the staff contracts. When you give us the money, we recruit them and we give them contracts. So you don't have the contracts now. But once they give you the money, you recruit the staff and you give contracts.
Thank you so much.
Moving to the target group, this is basically who are you going to impact? joint medical stores, you're going to give PPE to health practitioners. Those are your beneficiaries. So you describe them. Which ones are you going to focus on? Are you going to go to those in health centers? Are you going to go to those in hospitals? You know, you just describe the people you're going to spend on in terms of those are going to benefit. For Andrew, you have a cafe. Are you going to spend on your cafe? Okay. Who are the benefits?
Maybe Claire, I'll correct
Yes,
this. Eh?
Yes, please.
The name is Cafe Africa Uganda, but we are an NGO in the coffee subsector.
Oh, apologies. So you're in the coffee value chain, right?
Yeah, we're in the coffee value chain.
Are you processors?
We support capacity building in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture and Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Thank you very much. You support capacity.
All right.
You train farmers.
Yeah. You train farmers and extensionist workers along the value chain.
Those are your beneficiaries.
Pardon?
The farmers
and
extension workers.
The farmers and extension workers, both in the public and private sector. Yes, please.
They're beneficiaries because they are the ones whose capacity you build.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to give an example to include even as we did present today.
Pardon?
I hope you're okay. Yakub, can you just say a word? I don't know if Yakub is there. I hope we've all got the beneficiaries. I want to move to baseline information. And this is simple. You know, most of the work in proposal development is here when we are starting the proposal. Because getting the background right takes some time. About these pineapples, about the healthcare providers, about the coffee farmers that Andrew's organization is supporting, about the milk farmers that Elsie's company is going to support to buy from them the milk. Articulating the problem and the solutions and the goal, then getting to these 5 here. There is quite some work for you to do. And each and everything that you do has to be in line with the goal and is solving the problem you stated. Baseline information is what is currently happening and what is happening to the farmers. Andrew?
Okay.
What's happening to the farmers?
Oh, with the farmers currently.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
There's inadequate access by farmers to coffee extension services. So in the end, they end up not practicing the good agricultural practices and end up with the low yields.
So what you have mentioned, Andrew, that kind of situation, but what you do, you quantify it to give us exactly what is happening to those farmers who are going to benefit. Okay?
Okay.
So that we can use this baseline information when we are monitoring and evaluating the contribution of the intervention, if we give you money.
Okay. Okay.
Current situation is, why do you want to build a capacity of farmers? We've had, they are not able to produce the capacity, okay? Probably you've mentioned about extension services. So extension workers are going to be part of your activities, getting these extension workers to work with the farmers, right? So the current situation is actually where the problem lies, what is happening on ground now. So we shall use this baseline information to check and see if our intervention has actually yielded some contributions of impact. Geographical area of intervention. Juliet, I need to hear from Yakub. I don't know where he is, but he's in the meeting. He's in this training. Juliet, your farmers are in the world, right?
Yes, please.
Your farmers are in Luweero.
Yes.
Describe them in the geographical area.
Yeah.
LC, I know you're in Kenya. Describe where you're going to, the farmers are located, the ones that you're going to impact. Joint medical stores. I saw you mentioning the whole of Uganda. Can I get someone from Joint Medical Stores? Ivan?
Yes, please.
Who are you targeting in Uganda? Where? Healthcare practitioners in which area in Uganda?
Initially, we are looking at it broadly, like the whole of health hospitals, healthcare centers,
Okay.
both FP and government hospitals.
In the whole of Uganda?
Yes.
I need to visit Joint Medical Stores, because you're doing a big government job. Anyways, it's good to calm down and because once you say you're going to do the whole of Uganda, just to hear from you, Ivan, does Joint Medical Stores have capacity to reach all the medical facilities in Uganda?
Yes, we do.
You do, okay. You have partners that you're working with in the
because we have already been doing other projects.
Okay.
The PNFPs across the country.
Oh, so because you're working with the Catholic Medical Bureau and
yes, and Protestant, all the medical bureaus.
All the medical, including the Muslims, the Islam.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Across the country.
Okay.
So the distribution wouldn't be much of a problem.
So you, for the geographical area, since you're doing the whole of Uganda, okay, you're going to indicate that you're doing, I don't know how many districts we have. The last time I knew there were, I think I last knew when there were 112. I don't know how many have been added. But even if whichever number of districts in Uganda, you indicate them as the geographical area of the intervention. Okay?
All right.
Thank you. We have a few minutes remaining. I want to introduce something. It is in line with what we are doing. Okay? We talked about milestones, indicators, outputs, monitoring and evaluation. We want to know how are we able to know that we are actually achieving our outputs. I know Joint Medical Stores, you're doing a lot of monitoring, right? Emma?
Yeah, we at JMS, yes, that's part of the activity.
Yes.
We do monitoring indeed, yes.
Okay.
It's also a requirement by the means of health.
So, participants in the monitoring, we just want to check progress. Because in the proposal, we have our plan clear. Now, you want to check how you're progressing with achieving the outputs. We shall talk about risks ahead. That will be tomorrow. How do we ensure that we are mitigating the risks before they happen? That's why we do monitoring. We want to fix problems earlier before they come or before.
Which we are trying to say.
Emmanuel, can you please mute? Then we need to keep in touch with our stakeholders and beneficiaries. Okay? That is why we monitor. What do we monitor? I'm seeing there are some charts, Bridget. Okay, good to hear from you, Jakub. What do we monitor? Bridget, your comment has been noted. We monitor our outputs, we monitor the beneficiaries and stakeholders, we monitor expenditure. And when do we monitor? We monitor all the phases of the project or the program. You can decide to do monthly, you can decide to do quarterly, you can try to do every 6 months, depending on your intervention. If you have many partners like joint medical stewards, you can work with the partners, do the monitoring, and they keep reporting to you and feeding you with information on what is happening on ground. So, I know we started a bit late. Just to get consensus, can we do evaluation and we close? Just unmute, because we have 3 minutes. Jakub, it's okay?
With me, it's okay. For me, it's okay.
Thank you. To hear from you. Evaluation is not normally done by us, okay? But it is part of the proposal. We are expecting the funder to send an external partner, or if it is done by us, when we have partners that we are working with, we must evaluate their work, because we agree the outputs are in our control. So if the evaluation helps us to know if we are working well, since we are depending at some point on our partners. So evaluation, we are measuring success of the project, okay? We are measuring success, achievement of outputs. What do we evaluate? The impact, the outcomes, and the outputs. Who does that? An external party. If it is us, we are doing it because we have partners that we have subcontracted to do our work. So we go and evaluate them based on what above. How do we evaluate? We visit the project area and interact with these people. Interact with the stakeholders, the implementers, the beneficiaries. We conduct interviews and get to know. Joint medical stewards, you need to get to know from the healthcare practitioners. Did they actually receive the PPE? Okay? You need to know from them. That's why we do evaluation and monitoring. Okay. I still have 1 minute. Stakeholder participation, who will you work with? That is all. Whoever you're going to work with and they're going to make a big contribution, write about them and what they are going to do. Exit strategy, what are you going to do to sustain the programs and project when you have ended the project? Joint medical stewards, you've given out the PPE, the money is finished. How are you going to ensure that you continue doing this? That's the exit strategy. I'll handle the risk management tomorrow because it's a bit broad. Project organization, who will run the project. We shall have internal, but we could also have external partners. For the project organization, you have to submit CVs of the main people, like the managers, the main people who are going to run the project. Cost efficiency, achieving maximum output at a minimum cost. Okay. If you're going to reach out to people in the whole country as joint medical stewards, you don't have to have your entire team go to every district. You indicate we are going to be working with our partners, the medical bureaus, so that they can be able to reach our beneficiaries. Cross-cutting issues. What is innovative about your project? Why should we give you money and we leave someone else who has a similar idea? Yeah? That is innovation. What is really different? What is unique about your project or about your idea? Then gender. How are we involving both male and female in our programs? Don't just say only women. When we say women, it is a a women emancipation issue, we are saying gender. How are you going to incorporate all the two sexes, female and male? Do you have a component of engaging the youth? People who are into processing. How good is your initiative to the environment? In terms of, are you producing any carbon emissions from your machines? How are you going to protect the environment? Poverty, that one is really clear. As long as you're increasing incomes of some beneficiaries, you're fighting the poverty. Joshua, you have a question? Non-discrimination, your project should be inclusive, okay? Moving on to communication, I want to close, Joshua, don't worry, I see 2 minutes ahead. Moving on to communication, you're informing the funder how you're going to communicate the results of the project, website, if you have one. Are you going to use newsletters if you don't have a website, or are you going to use both? Do you have a social media page? Okay, if you don't have a website and newsletter, at least have a social media page so that the funder can be able to access information from your social media page. And this information is actually appreciating the funder for giving you the money to be able to reach your beneficiaries. Then meetings, both for internal and external stakeholders. Participants, I beg to end here with today's presentation. Any questions for me? I've mentioned that we shall handle risk management tomorrow. Joanita, good to hear from you.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I wanted the request for proposal doesn't have like this format which you have given, but they've specified. In a way, do I still incorporate these points that you have taken us through?
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. I like Emmanuel's background. He's in the comfort of his home or somewhere. Any other questions? Can I get some feedback? Thanks for the feedback.
Madam Claire.
Yes, Purity.
Just on top of what Madam Juanita has said,
yes, please.
You remember yesterday you gave us a template?
Yes, please.
And sometimes you're not given a template. Okay, let's assume you're given a template and all these things are not there. Do you still include them? Do you put them somewhere, or you give as you have been directed?
For the template, you give only the information that they have asked for. So once they review the template information and they feel they need more information from you, they normally communicate to you. But what I prepared is for a proposal which is open, where I don't have the template. The key areas that you have to look at. Okay. But for the template, please.
You will help us maybe tomorrow.
Pardon?
Maybe tomorrow you'll help us throw more light on cost efficiency. Maybe tomorrow.
Cost efficiency. Okay. Thank you, Ivan. Elsie, you have your hand up.
Okay, I wanted to inquire in case, because the proposal we are doing right now, we are doing according to the case study that we were given. So we are going according to the guidelines of that. But in case, like in real life, you want to do it, when you want to consult,
I'm attending a training. Zoom.
I think there's background from Andrew. Elsie, sorry, I didn't get your question.
Okay, from the proposal we are doing, we are using the case study that we were given to do the assignments, right?
Yes, please.
Then, so in case you want to do it in real life and it's not related to that, like with the case study, it's away from that, can we consult, or we have to pay to consult with you?
Oh, if you want to do a proposal for you.
Yes.
Now,
No, like I am going to do like my own proposal away
yes,
from the case study. So
yes.
about the consultation, is it at a fee or is it free? Because we have interacted with you in this session, so we can just get get guidance from you any other time.
For now, in line with the training, I'll be able to provide free additional support. But if it is a bigger proposal, outside this, like Elsie is looking for funding and she's doing that proposal that is more specific, probably a funder sent out a call or you want to knock on another funder's door, you can prepare the proposal and we can agree on my side, review. I review and we can agree on a small fee for me to be able to advise you. But for the training, I'll be able to give some guidance on those who will submit the proposals in line with what we have been learning.
Oh, I get it now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add on what you have said.
Yes, please.
LC, we are not exactly following the proposal. Like I sent another email whereby you have to incorporate what you want into answering the questions yesterday Claire shared. So you're not following exactly what is written. You have to incorporate that in what you exactly want, so that we are moving on the same line.
Thank you very much, Humphrey. Colleagues, please give your feedback so that we close this meeting. Then yeah, I've seen a comment on the link for tomorrow. I'll send it as soon as we close this training. I'm going to set it up and send it. Because then I sent yesterday, I had scheduled it for 3 days, but somehow it didn't work. I don't know why, but I need to cross-check that. My dear participants, I want to first thank you for being very, very active in today's session. Please keep that feedback coming in. And if you want to give it verbally, you can still do that.
Claire, let me give mine before I go off.
Yes, Andrew?
Hello?
Yes, Andrew, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the training. I thought I wouldn't be able to participate, but I've been able to participate on this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the articulation of issues. And I'm only looking forward to what is coming in tomorrow, the discussion to us tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. Thank you very much. I'm going off. I'm just getting into another training.
Okay, Andrew. Thank you so much.
For me, Claire, I just need to thank you also for the wonderful time. I think it's a very good, and it's always good to refresh on these issues. They're very important, and you have articulated them very well. What does this acronym Imuka stand for?
Imuka. Imuka is a Swahili word.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope, Roy, are you here? Imuka is a company led by Roy, where Humphrey serves as one of the staff. Humphrey, can you shed more light? Oh, Elsie, you're here, right? Elsie.
Yes.
What does Imuka mean? It's a word from home.
According to Roy, it means stand. Simama, like stand.
Stand.
Yes.
Okay.
Emmanuel, you've got that?
It means stand. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, the Imuka looks at identifying challenges that are experienced by entrepreneurs and organizations, and they can be able to provide business development support, okay? And any areas that you need access so that you can be able to grow. Yeah?
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you so much for today. I wish you a blessed evening, afternoon, evening. See you tomorrow. I'm going to share the link with you. Roy is appearing when we are closing the session.
Do we have, okay.
Yes, Purity. One of you had a
No, I just needed to find out whether we are adding on what we did yesterday.
Oh,
Or
for us
today we are
to
free.
close, we are going to add, thank you so much, Purity. We are going to do more work based on what we've shared today, okay? We are going to do more work, and then tomorrow we'll have other participants who didn't participate today present, okay?
Okay.
Please add on. Roy, you have something to share with us to close?
Thank you, Claire. I've actually been on for a good amount of time, but I've been doing more of the listening. So thank you. I think the session was great, despite the initial hiccup of the link. Thank you, members, for being patient. I would like just to encourage the members who have not presented to prepare and list and participate by presenting. The more you present, the more you are able to be corrected and guided in the right direction. So I would encourage the members who didn't present today to make themselves available to actually present tomorrow so that they can also be corrected and guided. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roy. Elsie, you have a comment here. Please add on the assignment you were working on yesterday. Give more work on the areas that we have covered today, in addition to what you did yesterday. I hope that is clear. So tomorrow, Elsie and Yakub, Andrew, you will be presenting as we are starting the session.
Yeah, there are some comments in the chat box. Should I go on?
No, I think many have been appreciating the session.
Yeah, most of them are appreciating it.
Yeah, thank you so much, participants, for appreciating. See you tomorrow. Let me send you the link. Humphrey, please share with me Andrew's email so that I can add him to the invitation. I wish you a blessed afternoon, evening. Bye-bye.